Hi, Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch Mike on Mike on YouTube.
What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Mr. Mike, and today we're going to do the analysis, prediction of the Detroit Lions versus the Kansas City Chiefs, Week 4 at Ford Field. Before I get into the video, make sure if you have not subscribed to my channel, hit the bell for all my notifications, leave me a comment and tell you how you think this bad boy is going to play out. Let's begin. Let's start with the quarterback position of the Detroit Lions. They have quarterback Matthew Stafford. He has 831 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He has led his team to a 2-0-1 start, and so far having a mixed year. He's made some great passes. He's made some passes that made you scratch your head. He has done enough to win the game, but he's also missed on a couple of throws. This game is going to be at Ford Field. I think he does have the advantage of obviously having the crowd on his side, and they're still in a new offense via Darrell Bevell. I think he has the ability to grow throughout the season and get better, but he's still going to have a little bit of rust, knowing to the fact, again, this is a new scheme, and this is something that we've seen throughout Matthew Stafford's career. He had some really good games Week 1, and then he had some head-scratching games in Week 2, and some couple of bad throws in Week 3. But again, his ability to aware of the pass rush that's taking place is phenomenal this year. His offensive line is holding a lot better for him, and he's making plays when it does count, and so far so good. Let's go ahead and run it to Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has nearly 1,195 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and only 3 sacks. Patrick Mahomes was the MVP last year, and he is on track to do it again. His numbers are insane. He's led his team to a 3-0 start, and they look like a Super Bowl contender. He is on track to be another MVP. He is phenomenal, and he's showing the world that this is not just a one-year fluke, that he is the real deal. When it comes to Patrick Mahomes, he's phenomenal. He can do it in the air. He can do it on the ground. He is a nightmare for defenses. And when I compare these two quarterbacks, I give the edge to Patrick Mahomes as a 2-point advantage. It would be even higher than that. However, it is a road game, and the crowd will give Patrick Mahomes some fits to deal with. But advantage, Kansas City Chiefs. Let's go to the running game, and that starts with the Detroit Lions with Kerryon Johnson. 48 attempts for 126 yards and a touchdown. Right now, he's not producing to the ability that we feel he can do, but he is definitely a game changer in the game. He has the ability to wait for the open hole, play level-headed, and when the hole does open up, he has the ability to hit it. He also has the advantage of being extremely patient, and he can definitely tear up a defense. However, it has just not produced so far this year with the Detroit Lions. The offensive line is not opening up enough holes for him, and it needs to get better, and I think it will via the new scheme. Let's jump to the running back from the Kansas City Chiefs. That's Sean McCoy with 29 attempts, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Sean McCoy was a phenomenal player when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. He did okay with the Buffalo Bills. So far, he's producing to kind of what you expected, knowing the fact that he's at the end of his career. He's a veteran running back. With this offense of the Andy Reid offense, he has the ability to not just receive the ball as a running back, but pass catch as well. He has the ability to be explosive. He's a player. Right now, he's not producing to the extreme high level they want him to, but he's definitely a good running back. Advantage, draw. I'm going to give this a draw because, again, this is at the home field. I feel that the Lions can produce a little bit better, and it will give the offense a little bit fits, specifically the running game. Advantage, none. The Detroit Lions has Marvin Jones Jr., Kenny Galladay, and Danny Amendola. Right now, they're a solid trio, and so far this season, their numbers hasn't exploded, but if you look at it, they're open a lot. There's always someone open. Kenny Galladay, one game will have a great game. The next will be Marvin Jones Jr., like last week. And Danny Amendola, he's been picking up great catches. in time of need. They have a trio that can really take the Lions to the next level, and all three of them makes big-time plays for the Detroit Lions. They are definitely a great trio. Now, Marvin Jones Jr. is leading the pack right now with 200 yards, but again, you can't just simply go on the yards because these guys are making the plays when counting, and when it comes to Lions offense, they're very balanced. Let's jump to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs has Sammy Watkins, Robinson, and Harden as the trio of wide receivers. Their wide receiver trio, excluding the fact that their number one wide receiver is injured, these three wide receivers here are just like the Lions wide receivers. They can make the big play, they can be explosive, and they're getting open. They are giving defenses a lot of issues. Due to the fact that it's hard to take down Patrick Mahomes, he has the ability to extend the play, thus it's very difficult for a secondary to cover these receivers. Right now, they're putting up explosive numbers. Sammy Watkins has 311 yards, Robinson has 215 yards, and Hardman 158. They're definitely making the plays. Right now, when it comes to trio versus trio, I'm going to say advantage Kansas City by 0.5%, and that's because, again, they have Patrick Mahomes. But when it comes to the ability of the wide receivers, all three competing against each other, I say it's fairly equal. All three of them are getting open, all three make explosive plays, and they make plays when it's need to be happening. But I will give advantage Kansas City wide receivers 0.5 due to the ability of Patrick Mahomes. Let's now jump to the tight end position. Right now, we have the tight ends of the Detroit Lions, of TJ Hockenson and Jesse James. TJ Hawkinson's the rookie standout. He has a phenomenal Week 1 game, and he's had not big-time stats when it comes to the tight ends in the last couple of games, but he's doing a fantastic job protecting the quarterback and making blocks. Jesse James is making phenomenal catches when it counts, and it's really opening up the other playmakers, such as the wide receivers for the Detroit Lions. When you go to Kansas City Chiefs, they have Travis Kelce, who's a phenomenal tight end. Right now, he's blowing up with 284 yards. When it comes to one-on-one, you got to say Kelce is better. However, you got to look at the whole picture. The Detroit Lions don't just use their tight ends as pass receivers. They use them as blocking and help protect Matthew Stafford. So when it comes to receiving, I give the advantage to Kelce. But when I go all around, when it comes to the dual threat that the Lions have, I give the advantage to the Detroit Lions. With this said, I'm going to give the advantage of 0.5 to the Lions. You got to look at the defense they're going against. Right now, the Detroit Lions have a dual tight end threat. The defense of the Kansas City Chiefs is very vulnerable when it comes to tight ends, and I think you're going to see this exploit. TJ Hockenson has the ability to take over a game. We've seen that Week 1, and Jesse James is no slouch. I think the Lions have a very good secondary, and they have the ability to really change a game plan when it comes to stopping the tight end. If you look at the Lions last game, we got killed with Zach Ertz in the first half, but they turned around and they changed their game plan of Zach Ertz in the second half and negated everything that he had. I think the Lions will do that again. Advantage Detroit Lions, 0.5. But definitely Travis Kelce is a beast of a tight end, and they definitely need to double that guy. Let's jump to the offensive line of the Detroit Lions. The offensive line of the Detroit Lions started shaky Week 1, but so far in pass protection, the offensive line of Taylor Decker, of Frank Ragnow, Joe Dahl, Graham Glasgow, and Wagner has been absolutely phenomenal last 2 games of pass protection. 0 sacks for Matthew Stafford, and it also helps again with these tight ends and Matthew Stafford leaving the pocket. Their ability to pass protect has been much better so far than I predicted throughout the year, and it's really showing how much better they can be, how much better the offense can be by protecting Matthew Stafford. However, their vulnerable spot is the running game. They need to do a better job of opening up the holes for the running back of the Detroit Lions. However, this game is at home, so that plays in a factor when grading these 2 positions. The Kansas City Chiefs also have a very good offensive line. They can open up the hole and pass protect as well. Eric Fisher, a former first overall pick, He leads the way for this line who really protects Patrick Mahomes. He's only had 3 sacks, and they open up the holes as well. However, Patrick Mahomes does have the ability to get out of the pocket, and that does help as well. When it comes to putting these two matchups, I would say advantage running the game, opening up the holes for Kansas City, but when it's pass protection, it's fairly even. And due to it to be on the road game, I feel like the crowd, the 12th man of the Detroit Lions, will be very, very loud, and it will give them a little bit of fit. So I'm going to go ahead and give advantage Detroit Lions by 0.5. However, I do feel they will be running the ball more effective than the Lions when it comes to opening up the holes for the Lions. They have the ability to do that, and it's proven. The Lions have not. But advantage 0.5 Detroit Lions via crowd noise. Let's start with the defensive line of the Detroit Lions. They have Ashawn Robinson, Snacks, Harrison, Flowers. Right now, Mike Daniels is injured, and Deshaun Hand, we don't know if he's going to play. But these guys right now are underperforming, in my opinion. They're not getting at the quarterback well enough, and they're not stopping the run like they should be. I'm not sure if it's due to, again, being out of shape and not playing in the preseason and training camp. With that said, right now they are underperforming. They're not doing what they should be paid to do at this point. They're underperforming when it comes to the defensive line. However, Flowers has been getting better throughout the past games, but it's a question mark. Let's jump to the defensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs. They have Ogba, Okafor, Flank Clark, and Nadi. Their defensive line is not that great as well. They can get pressure sometimes. They can slowly stop the run. But when it comes to these guys, the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs and the defensive line is not doing the best job possible. It reminds me again of the Detroit Lions defensive line. Right now, I give advantage even. Let's go to the linebacking core of the Detroit Lions. They have a really good linebacking core and a hybrid system. You got Kennard, you got Tavai, the rookie, and you got Jarrett Davis in there. The Detroit Lions linebacking core is looking like one of their strengths on defense. With the health of Jarrett Davis, they are really attacking offensive players very hard, and they're stripping the balls a lot. You had Jarrett Davis knocking the ball out last week and Tavai the week before. They're attacking the ball, they're attacking the players, and they're hitting very hard. The Detroit Lions really have a good linebacking core. When it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs linebacking core, they have linebackers of Wilson, Hitchens, and Neiman. These guys are an okay linebacking core. They're doing well enough. However, if they're trying to make that Super Bowl run and they're trying to make that next level, I feel like they need to take it up a notch. I feel like the Detroit Lions can exploit them when it comes to running game, when it comes to the tight ends, and I feel like they're not performing to an elite level. They're not performing to just a good level right now, and the Detroit Lions right now, when it comes to the linebacking core, I said has a 1.5 point advantage against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's jump to the secondary. The Detroit Lions secondary is scary. It's one of the best in the league, in my opinion. They got Walker and Diggs at safety. They have Darius Slay, Rashawn Melvin, who's performing on an insane level, and Coleman in the slot. These guys are really top-notch secondary in the NFL, and if it wasn't for the secondary, we probably would not be winning these games. The secondary is extremely well, and the reason we're getting sacks is due to coverage sacks. These guys are making plays. These guys are sticky and scary. When it comes to the secondary of the Kansas City Chiefs, they do have a good safety in Tyrann Mathieu, who has the ability to make plays and turn the ball over. But when it comes to Ward, when it comes to Breeland, when it comes to the other individuals on the team, they're not a great secondary, in my opinion. They're not making as much as plays as they should be, and offenses are scoring on this team. When it comes to the Lions secondary versus their secondary, the Detroit Lions secondary has a massive advantage, in my opinion, of 2 points. Let's jump to the coaching comparisons. The Detroit Lions has Matt Patricia, who is a second-year head coach of the Detroit Lions, And through week 1, he had a very rough game. Week 2, it was rough. And last week, it got a little better, but he's still having issues with time management. But he's making adjustments, which is a big deal. We seen last week the Lions made adjustments by stopping the tight end, as well as not doing this prevent defense garbage. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs has Andy Reid, who has really revolutionized this offense for Kansas City. Their offense is extremely well. It's beating defenses week in and week out, and they are a Super Bowl contender due to Andy Reid. When it comes to this advantage, I give the Kansas City Chiefs a big 1.5 point advantage. Again, I just feel like Andy Reid is on the next level. He is a veteran coach who is really making this team explosive. He needs to do a better job on defense, but they are, no doubt about it, they are a Super Bowl contender. Now, with the advantages and disadvantages I gave throughout the team, when it comes to predicting a score, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people expect, specifically a lot of people in the mainstream media. I think the score will be as follows, as the Detroit Lions will have 33 points and Kansas City will have 37. I do believe the Kansas City Chiefs will win this game. I just feel like their offense right now is rolling on a different level. The Lions do have a really good defense compared to what defenses they've faced so far in this season. I think it's going to give them issues. However, I just feel that they're rolling on another level right now, and the Detroit Lions will get their first loss of the season against a Super Bowl contender. It's going to be closer again than what people assume because it is on the road, and it's hard for a team to win on the road, but I do believe that Kansas City will win this game, and I believe the Lions will get their first loss. With that said, folks, tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, and tell me your prediction. With that said, folks, adios.